Welcome to Wrestle Line, the show that kicks arse and takes names every time. Hosted by John Scott and Matt Essex.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Wrestle Line. I'm your host, I don't need to say that anymore because that's why we have an intro. But welcome to SummerSlam nonetheless. We are here doing our review, joined by Matt, of course. Matt, how you feeling after coming out of SummerSlam from last night? And obviously you've had time to think about it, reflect on it a little bit, and a positive spirit at the moment?
Yeah, and I even managed to get through it with little sleep. So, the time that it went on for was just about right for me.
Cool.
For that kind of event. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this and reviewing it.
Yeah, and it wasn't as long as I thought it was going to be, which is even better, I think, for me. And the few emails I got this morning straight after the show was all positive about the length of time, because I think everybody, it had been reported 6 hours was going to be the crazy time on it, which was just crazy long. Obviously, I've got to be honest with you, I'm going to put it out there right now. I missed the entire pre-show, but I have seen snippets and highlights of it, so we will cover that. But as we normally do, Matt, we will we give sort of not really accurate ratings in that one. We just give ratings for the main show because I think it's tough to do sometimes with the other ones. But just to go through the pre-show, it was okay. I mean, Edge was there. That was a bit of a surprise to see him on the show, and so it made it a little bit better. But I think 2 hours, I always say this every time, so I'm sure I'm boring everybody now, but 2 hours is just too long for a pre-show. It's almost like its own show. It's like NXT TakeOver time, which, by the way, was a fantastic show, and we are going to talk about towards the end. Just going to start with the pre-show first then. So we had Drew Gulak defeating who's it, Oni Larkin. So I mean, a cruiserweight, it was added last minute, people didn't know about this. What did you make of having this on the pre-show? Obviously we'll mention we did not have a US, I don't think US was defended, was it? Or was no,
US was, Intercontinental wasn't.
Intercontinental wasn't, sorry, yeah. So yeah, that was out, but obviously this was in a good match nonetheless, Matt? Or
yeah, I mean,
I didn't see any of this.
If you've been following 205 Live, it kind of made sense. I mean, they had that, was it a six-pack challenge match to determine that Oni would be the number one contender. So it was decent. I always wish that with these kind of matches that they would go on a little later, because it does seem to be always the cruiserweight title that gets demoted to the pre-show. A little bit of a shame. Drew has been working his arse off, so a shame we couldn't make it to the actual main card. Yeah,
I'm with you there. It is a bit of a shame because, he looks like a talent. I've been going back on 205 a bit because you've been saying how good it's been, and he's definitely a standout performer. Second match that we got was none other than Buddy Murphy in there. I know that there was a run-in on this from Rowan, after the accusation he made about him, so it kind of fed into the storyline when he went up against the guy that you don't even know exists half the time, Apollo Crews. So it was a DQ finish, just over 4 minutes. Much more to add to it other than storyline here, Matt? Really,
just very strange out of the blue why they did this. Yeah, it's just storyline driven, I guess. Yeah. So more of that to come in the future.
I've got to say, I'm for it because they're not finishing it up normally WWE really fast with these things. But I'd like to see them stretch it out maybe till they go on SmackDown, for the first show, and have the reveal then. I think they should drag this as long as they can because you never get that overlapping story going on. And the fact that we didn't actually see Roman Reigns on the main card at SummerSlam was quite something. But I'm not really beat up about that because I think it's better in a way for storyline's sake, so I'm kind of happy they're keeping consistent with something. Buddy Murphy getting the victory because of DQ, and Alexa Bliss, Matt, and Nikki Cross. defeated the Iconics. What was this any good? I've completely missed this match, so you'll have to.
No, it's fairly decent. Yeah. I assume they did the one on Raw because it would get more time, and of course this one didn't get as much time being on the pre-show. But as far as rematches go, yeah, fairly decent. And it cements themselves a little bit more legitimately as they fought the previous champions one-on-one. So nothing to write home about, but decent enough for a pre-show, I guess.
Sure. So, guys, before we hit the SummerSlam main card, I just want to let you guys know, for the first time ever, we are in our new venue. But also, Matt, I think this might be a first time ever that we've actually sat and done a podcast, an actual podcast together. I think we've done videos before, but I don't think we've ever sat and done a podcast to our listeners in the same place at the same time. So, in 4.5 years, this is the first time.
History in the making here.
Yeah, so it's kind of a new experience for us doing this. We're also in a new venue, which is really good. We're at Neon Nights tonight. We did post a few videos earlier, so you can check them out on Facebook and Instagram. And literally in September, you're going to watch the whole moving in vlog that I've done today. Hopefully you all enjoy as well. But yes, it's nice to be in your presence, Matt.
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
To do this and
engage
to talk
the reactions, see facial expressions. Well, I mean, you guys can't, but
yeah, normally I pull faces at Matt when he's talking. I can't do that now. I've got to be a bit more professional. So no, of course not. Now, first match then, SummerSlam, coming from obviously Toronto, Canada. I want to say, I know we should always mention this, not a really massive deal about the entranceway on this one, Matt, was there? No. Didn't really stand out as anything crazy, so nothing to really report out, because I know I always get emails, people saying, you didn't mention the layout. Not really that much to talk about at this one. The attendance reportedly 16,904. How much of that was paying and all the rest of it, we don't know yet, but not a bad venue in Toronto. And the crowd for this first match, Matt, I think this was an interesting one to put out first. What did you make about having the Raw's Women Championship match going on first? This has happened a few times now. I know that last time I've said my piece on it about I don't mind it, but I am a bit of an old school fan where I like it to build and build and build. But at the same time, I get why they do it, because the fans are at their most sort of the earliest and the energy's there still, and you're kicking it off with a bang. But I used to prefer the old way of doing it, of having sort of mid-carders get that exposure and let them get the sort of fans that maybe they don't always get that reaction for, but because they're the first match, they're going to. But nonetheless, they went with the women's match first. What did you make of the sort of pacing of this card, really, Matt, to have these two first?
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise for me. I always prefer it when they start with a match that's probably a little bit further down the pecking order. This was one of the main attractions. A lot of people would have even said perhaps this should have been towards the end of the night. And I would have had no problems with that being on just before the main event even. But, what did we get? Yeah, we got this, and I guess it was maybe a case of spreading out the losses throughout the night, because as we would see later on the night, it didn't go all to plan for the Canadian wrestlers. So.
No, if anyone read my blog, my feelings and predictions were completely blown out the waters after sort of seeing this and what I thought it was going to be like. So, the match itself, I thought was really, really good. I mean, I enjoyed the work that both the female talent had here. I mean, you knew it was going to be good. These two have feuded before, I believe, on SmackDown a long time ago. And Natty, obviously, hometown. The reaction to it was strange, because at first it was like Becky was kind of getting a lot of the man. I see a lot of the man posters go up. And I thought, this isn't going to be as one-sided as I perhaps thought. And I think even Natty probably sort of thought, as the introductions were going on, this is a bit strange. And I did see Becky sort of smirk to herself, as if to say, I told you so. So there is something to be said about that, because I think it shows that she is still slightly more over than what we thought, Matt. To go to a place like Canada and still get that reaction is pretty good. And the match itself, I thought was pretty damn decent. I mean, this is why it was a little bit of a shame it didn't go towards the end, because I think it's one of those ones you're probably going to forget about more than some of the other moments that happened at SummerSlam here. But this should not be sort of lost in the shuffle, because I thought this was really good. Went about just under 13 minutes here, so they got a decent outing. Becky goes over on this one, Matt. I mean, I kind of thought for some reason I had just this inkling that the Natty was going to win and Becky might chase, but what did you make of the match itself, Matt, and how it played out?
Yeah, it was fairly decent for me. I suppose some people might have really enjoyed it, but for me, it was a little bit off. I couldn't put my finger on it. I felt like perhaps Natty wasn't getting her fair share, because it did seem like Becky was getting on about 5 submissions, and then Natty would get on maybe 1. And for a technical wrestler that Natty's supposed to be, it was hard to watch. It seemed like the man was coming out on top a little bit too often during the match, and then at the end to make her tap out in front of her own home crowd, it's hard watching, I suppose, when those kind of moments happen. But that's supposed to be the excitement, isn't it? You got to put all your eggs in one basket, and it's going to be Becky for now.
Yeah, so she tapped out at the end. And yeah, like you say, Becky goes over. She got a big crowd reaction, was big for it still. And yeah, we go on further with it. I'm hoping that there's something decent around the corner for her, Matt, whether it happens on Raw tonight or down the line. But I kind of feel like she needs a fresh opponent, a fresh feud, because they kind of plucked Natty out of nowhere for this one in a lot of ways. But nonetheless, I thought it was decent. What do you give on stars for this one, Matt?
It's going to be tough. I think people are going to judge me harshly, but I'm just going to go strictly average with this, with 3 stars. I feel like it did its job. It didn't wow me. And if I don't get that kind of feeling about something, then the highest I can give it is a 3.
I'm going to go 3.5 on that one. So far, just a little bit more than you, Matt, there. I did enjoy it probably a little bit more than what you did by the sounds of it. Next up, of course, the returning Bill Goldberg since Saudi Arabia. He sort of was, I suspect, wanting to come back much like The Undertaker did last month at Extreme Rules to, put this right, I suppose. But this was even shorter than I thought, because I thought maybe it was almost like WWE played this very, very safe. Bill Goldberg only does a couple of things, only a couple of set moves, and you can't go wrong. Well, the entrance was there. I mean, he got a huge reaction, that's for sure. I mean, this guy, it's funny, isn't it? Because I read an article and it said, do you want to get over, or do you want to do all these flips and stuff and break your body, or do you just want to be over? And you look at Bill Goldberg, like, whatever you think of the guy, whether you think he should be wrestling or not, you can't deny he's not still over. I mean, it's ridiculous in this day and age, but I think it's a real... it's something to be looked at, I think, in today's market of where we're at with the current roster, because Bill Goldberg goes out there like a mega superstar, and still many of the guys are very average compared to Bill Goldberg, who was basically at his prime in the late 90s at best here. So interesting. What did you make of the way they went with the story they were telling? It was almost, they had to be a bit careful, because I thought at one point Bill Goldberg was coming across as a bit of a heel. It's like beating the poor guy up, bullying him almost. Like he can't help himself but want to get beat up for this. But I mean, a couple of moves. Dolph Ziggler got a couple of super kicks in. A little bit of offense there for him. Something, I suppose. But overall, the winner, Bill Goldberg. I did also predict in my vlog that I had just an inkling. Maybe I was being too creative for my own good as usual, that The Miz was actually going to be involved in this and perhaps try and even do a U-turn. But it wasn't to be. What did you make of the way it went?
I'll be careful about the way I describe this. I'm not Bill Goldberg's biggest fan, but yeah, I will admit that reaction he got from that crowd was massive. The support is there for the guy, and it's good. If he can get that kind of reaction, this is what WWE do need. So perhaps they do need more Goldberg. Bring him back for another pay-per-view. But I think if you're going into a feud with Goldberg, there's only one outcome. You're not really going to go over on him, because that seems to be the reoccurring trend. I hope one day someone is able to beat him and get a little bit of a return
Drew
from him.
McIntyre.
Yeah, that would be incredible. But this match with Dolph Ziggler, I felt like they chose Ziggler because he could work a match with Goldberg, and it could be going on for at least 5 minutes. But yeah, not to be on this day. Yeah, but as you said, he got a few moves in, and he did stand up to Goldberg a little bit, and that's where you said, things did change a little bit. It was almost like standing up to the school bully. You're not going to stay down, you're going to stand your ground, but Ziggler got laid out time and time again. So, but